In this issue of Video Fashion, designers plunge their collections into the deep. MARCHESA is immersed in an aquatic kingdom.
It's really referencing an underwater world from a Russian fairy tale.
Marine life becomes magical at Alexander McQueen.
Spectacular, really truly extraordinary.
It's this level of couture, craftsmanship, and dreams mixed together.
It's sexy sea sirens at VERSACE.
I loved VERSACE, I loved it.
Just one spectacular white goddess gown after another with big clear Swarovski starfish and beautiful seashell details.
For Christian Siriano, ocean elements are key.
I started finding these really interesting actual corals and barnacles.
Yes, I am wearing Christian. I love this one because it's a little fun up here.
Giorgio Armani makes a splash.
Well, I think Mr. Armani is the maestro. For anyone that likes to dress well, I think Armani's the first point of call.
A day at the beach turns into a career for Emily Baker.
I was scouted on a beach in New Zealand.
And much more coming up on Video Fashion. The Plaza Hotel in New York added an elegant backdrop to the MARCHESA show.
The look from MARCHESA is absolutely dramatic today. It's, you know, the wonderful side part and the hair really tight in a fishtail, and we add a little bit of an extension to add a little bit more hair when we need to, and really bring a dramatic but glamorous look. So it's a look that is it's quite modern, youthful, but very powerful.
We wanted it to be water nymph inspired, but I wanted it to be very sort of bare and playing with textures to get that kind of hyper real, dewy wetness to the skin.
Georgina is always the one thinking about the new ideas for the collections, and she called me up and she said, I've been researching all night and I found this incredible painting. She said, you've got to see it. A Russian artist called Repin, and particularly his work called Sadko, Underwater Kingdom, and it's referencing an underwater world from a Russian fairy tale. It was just a very beautiful painting and it was very inspirational, and it had so many elements to draw from. Just to be taken out of the normal world and be immersed in a sort of fantasy for a minute. We wanted the clothes to move as if they were underwater, so there's a lot of sort of floaty elements. It's going to be it's like sparkly, like being in the sea. It's like starting with the lighter colours, like on the sand, and then as you go deeper and deeper down under the water, so from shades of hues of blues, and yeah, going back and then coming back out into the sort of pastel colours. We like to call it a salon-style presentation. Yeah, it isn't traditional runway. They're not standing in place.
Walking, yes, they're going to be walking very slowly, snaking around the audience.
I'm glad they tried something new. You've got to see those extremely couture-like things moving and what they're going to be like.
I love MARCHESA. I just think they are extraordinary. And I love what they've kind of done because they've become such a fan favorite that they've had to do this presentation, which is just overwhelming with all the people there.
We love what we do. Yeah, we love what we do. We love every minute of it, so we have a lot of fun. We're very proud of our collection.
In Paris, the Alexander McQueen show was looked upon with great expectation. for spring 2012, designer Sarah Burton mesmerized the audience with her astonishing notions of the sea, inspired by the goddess Gaia.
After all these weeks of being on the road and seeing hundreds of pieces of clothing, this kind of thing towards the end of fashion weeks is really what makes it all come alive for us.
Spectacular. Really, truly extraordinary.
It was a brilliant show. I think for Sarah, she's having to bring out some kind of extra stock because this was the first one after the royal wedding dress. So I think everyone's looking to see, what can she do now?
It is exquisite, just exquisite. I hope that your cameras could actually capture, if you guys were able to zoom in on some of the details in that. I mean, it's interesting too, even if you don't get into it piece by piece and you kind of try to go back a little macro view, very, very pretty, very delicate. Meanwhile, we did have a couple of black swans in there too, so that it didn't stay just sweetness. The woman is really celebrated in these very close-fitting body, corseted shapes. But it's really just about a dream. And sometimes I think this is something that Paris delivers more than any other city in the world, is this level of couture, craftsmanship, and dreams mixed together.
I love the accessories, the masks are really so much fantasy, and the gloves, the bracelets were great.
The way that she used all of the staple McQueen ideas, but made them light and feminine, and even the corsetry, even the binding, somehow the girls didn't seem constrained. They moved very easily. So I thought, I thought she did a brilliant job.
Sarah Burton has done Mr. McQueen proud with a collection that continues with this aesthetic but really brings out her femininity to it. Just as creatively daring, just as theatrical as always, but something that you could actually think you could possibly wear. Granted, very decorative for the most part, but there was a magic to it. It was something unforgettable once again from McQueen.
I think Sarah Burton is fantastic. I think what she's taken the legacy of McQueen and really taken it to a much more, I don't want to say commercial level, but taken it to a much more accessible level. And I feel like there is everything there. I mean, it is couture, it is detail, it is craftsmanship, but it is ideas. And I think she does all that really well too.
I loved Versace, I loved it. Do you know what I loved about it? The unashamedly Versace-ness of it. I loved the fact it was totally maximalist, beaded, encrusted, more is more attitude, and I think that's what I want to see from her. That's what I want. I don't want her to downplay what she does. I want her to upplay it always. So brilliant, I loved it.
It was beautiful. It was classic Versace. I mean, I think it's such a time for Versace right now. Everyone's looking into their archives for inspiration and ideas, and that's what they do. And I think that's what Donatella did, was look into their history of what the house is and reinterpret it.
it's nice to see that the house continues to stay very true. They love color, they love sexy, and that's what we saw yesterday at that show.
You could see Donatella's influence just in some of those very soft prints, I think the starfish and the seahorses, and those were really lovely, and some of those colors which were just very gentle.
All those great gold-studded leather pieces, archival prints that were re-envisioned in sorbet shades of interesting aquas, lavenders, icy limes with all that underwater motif of seashells and starfish and wonderful little seahorses. It's a really upbeat show. Donatella does what they do best. She brought the rock and roll spirit back to the collection. It was truly a nod to her brother Johnny.
One of the things that I do think she always does really well is that she likes her women, her models, to look strong and powerful on the runway. I mean, she plays around with sort of power and sex, which I think is still very Versace, but in many ways I think is more of a woman's take than a man's.
Donatella has done an incredible job of keeping that brand interesting and exciting and relevant. She's managed to really actually add signatures to the house, certainly much more of a feminine element because it's a woman who's designing it, and I think that really does come through, especially in the collection she showed this week.
To me, her addition has been just this very feminine voice.
And then the finale, just one spectacular white goddess gown after another with big clear Swarovski starfish and beautiful seashell details across the bodices around the waist and down the skirts. It was pure Versace, and that's what they do so well. And for that girl that wants a va-va Versace, she's gonna have a va-va room little collection because the show looked fantastic.
I'm 17, turned 17 2 days ago.
Fresh-faced model Emily Baker had an extra special reason to celebrate on her sweet 17th birthday. The New Zealand-born beauty was about to embark on her runway career at New York Fashion Week.
Well, I'm from New Zealand and I was scouted on a beach in New Zealand and picked up from there. So I started about 4 months ago in New Zealand and then now I'm here. First show, Regenbow. Yeah. Oh, you were there? Oh, pretty good. What have I done? I've done Regenbow, Alexander Wang, Eden, this one, and still more to come. It's exciting. Yeah, first show I was petrified, you know. But then after a while I get more confident and it's kind of not easy, but it gets fun. You get like an adrenaline rush and I pretty much just zone out because it's amazing. You have to be there, I guess, to feel it, but no, it's good. It's all very new to me, so I like it. I love it. It's exciting.
Emily is still getting used to seeing her face in print.
In New Zealand, I did a few editorials and magazines. It's weird. It's very weird. I don't really like that. That's, you know.
Discovered on a beach, it's fitting that sun and fun in the great outdoors are a big part of Emily's everyday life.
What do I do in New Zealand? I go fishing, go to the beach often. I love fishing. Snapper, like this big. On the barbecue, there's smoked fish. Yeah, I love outdoors.
Still a teenager, Emily's family plays a supportive role in her new modeling career.
My mum and dad and family, they're all very supportive and they help me through it and they're good. They like it.
When we talked to her backstage at the Derek Lamb show, Emily still had miles of runway ahead for the fall-winter season.
Yes, I go to London, Paris, Milan, and then I come back here for print season. Hopefully it all goes well. Yeah.
As for plans beyond the runway, Emily has time on her side.
I'm still not sure yet, but I like photography, so I could hopefully, get that way, but depends how this goes, I guess.
Backstage, Christian Siriano enjoyed welcoming guests to his summer show.
Starting point really was that my last collection was very dark and quite dramatic, and I really felt like this needed to feel like air, to feel effortless, to feel light and vibrant and exciting. And I really wanted my girl this season to kind of have this cool, hip attitude, this kind of feeling when she's getting dressed, and I think color helps that very, very much. So I wasn't afraid of it this season. There's a film called Summertime with Katharine Hepburn, and there's a scene in this film where she's sitting in the piazza, kind of in this coral, really vibrant dress, but it was really about the color and the feeling of this effortlessness that she was sitting there in that feeling, hair tousled, a little messy, and I just thought it was so beautiful, and I was like, okay, how can I make that girl come to life this season? And then I was kind of thinking of travel. I'm like, okay, she's in Venice, that's the character that she was playing in the film, she's traveling there, she's finding new things, so then I started doing my own kind of research of if I was traveling, what would I be looking for? And I started finding these really interesting actual corals and barnacles, acorn barnacles. All the textures were really inspired by those colors and how these vibrant colors exist in a very dark place. So I thought that that was really interesting. I think texture was super important to have the soft and the hard, beautiful crepe pants with something that's light and airy, but then you have the next look, which is a really textured, almost manipulated chiffon technique. I love the balance of the two together. I have to tell you, the shoes this season were really one of my favorites we've ever done, and some of them are quite simple, but I just think the fabrics, the textures, the colors, I think are really cool, and I think there's going to be a lot of fashionistas that are going to want them.
I think with Christian, it's all about the tailoring. He's great at the tailoring, and he's great at giving women these feminine details, but it's always that sharp look.
I am wearing Christian. I love this one because it's a little fun up here, but it's really comfortable, and the fabric it's just light and stretchy, and I like it a lot.
There's a lot of designers out there, and there's a lot of brands, and there's a lot of things going on in the business that it is important to stay new and fresh and exciting, and I think that that should always be important for everyone. If it's so serious and it's not fun anymore because we're just making clothes at the end of the day, we're not curing an illness. So I think it's important to just have fun with it.
In Milan, Giorgio Armani fans were out in full force.
Well, first of all, I've always loved it as a kid, looking at pages of L'Uomo Vogue. I grew up in a small, Midwestern town and see all these cool-looking Italian guys. And so when I was growing up, I just wanted to be like them. So I liked it a lot.
Well, I think Mr. Armani is the maestro. So You know, we talk about fashion, but you know, the consistency of the Armani style, you know, is timeless. And you know, for anyone that likes to dress well, I think Armani's the first point of call.
I like that Giorgio went a little more sophisticated direction with all the longer mid-calf lanes. I thought there were some very pretty, you know, silks in there, and the color range from, you know, shades of water, of blues and grays was very pretty. It was a very pretty show.
Armani was a sea of bright color and prints. What a show. Absolutely serene, shimmery, beautiful. Armani at his best. He really is the maestro of Milan.
I liked it a lot. I especially loved what he did with pants. We haven't seen that much news in pants. The slender shimmering with the vent in the center. And then the dresses that were over a matching just below the knee pant. I thought that was great. Wonderful. And of course the collection was about shimmer and shine and water and translucence, but I thought his contribution to the pants was amazing.
It was so very sea-like and very serene and really just very subtle and beautiful, quiet, quiet, quiet. I feel like I went to a Zen retreat. Oh, cool. I know, that's unusual, right, after a show?
Armani, I liked Armani. I thought that the again the kind of the proportions seemed to me very attractive and appealing.
It had a quiet elegance, but I loved all the surface detail, the shimmery fabrics, the iridescent prints, the light crystal embroidery. It had a very feminine feeling and very modern, and I thought it was really beautiful.